All right, by the look on my watch here, it is now 10 o'clock and it is time to convene our court here. First thing we'll do is call this meeting to order, and the next thing we're going to do is have an opening prayer by Reverend John Hare. Everyone needs a good John, right, John?
Absolutely.
That's right.
Let us pray. Almighty God, as we begin this new year, we thank you for your many blessings in our lives. We thank you for the state and the county in which we live, and we thank you for all the county employees who give their time and energy and skills to us. We thank you for the Sheriff's Department and all the volunteer fire departments, and we ask you to watch over them and protect them. We thank you for elected officials, and we ask you to give them wisdom and courage in their duties. And especially this morning, oh God, we pray for the County Commissioners Court. We thank you for their dedication and commitment. And we ask you, oh God, by your Spirit to be present, and may all that they do here today reflect your will for this county. And we offer this prayer in the name of Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. And at this time, we're going to ask Commissioner Hollowell to lead our pledges. We're going to give Commissioner Sicking a little break today. You can get it on the next rotation.
Join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to these Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
I couldn't say the pledges on my first day.
Did you?
Yeah. And I wasn't nervous a bit.
You are. Yeah, but I'm nicer than your judge.
Yeah, that's true,
probably.
yeah.
Okay. Probably not. But all right. Pledge of allegiance. Public comments on any agenda items. Do we have anybody signed up? First of all,
Yes, sir.
we do have. Okay. Who do we have today?
Garrett Peters. Garrett Peters.
Garrett Peters.
Only for the reinvestment zone at the end. That's only at the end, sorry.
Oh, okay, okay, so, but we don't have any on the, okay. So we'll pass on that. Our consent agenda, and consent agenda is in your packets, all of individual items that are in there. Does anybody see anything that needs to be discussed further, or is the consent agenda look appropriate to you?
I'd like to pull P, Judge, if we can.
Item P, okay. That would be deliberate and consider possible approval of EMS to purchase two Ford F-450 chassis at $55,515 each from Olathe, Kansas, and exempt the purchase per LGC 262.0024. Public health and safety. Go right ahead.
Let's, anybody else got anything they want to pull? I want to pull L.
L, okay. L would be deliberate and consider possible approval of bid specifications for gasoline and diesel fuel to be used by Cooke County for a 12-month period beginning March 1st, 2023 through February 28th, 2024. Okay.
Anybody else want to pull anything?
Anybody else have anything? Commissioner Hollowell, why don't you spoke first. Go right ahead.
Judge, let me make the motion to approve the consent agenda with the exceptions of L and P. That's right, isn't it, Adam? L? Yes.
L and P, all right. Motion's been made to approve the consent agenda other than L and P. All in favor?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? There are none. So the consent agenda is approved other than L and P. And would you like to go ahead and discuss what you want discussed with P?
The only question I have about P, and Wes, I'm sure you probably can help me with this. I'm assuming we're excluding it from buy board and the bid process based on a public safety, public health and safety?
Yes, that was the
Exemption.
Which I've already found, yes.
Okay, that's just the first time I'd seen that. You've talked to Shelley and we're all good on that one?
Right.
Okay. That's all I had. I'd make a motion to approve
All
P.
the ones that are available, you can't count them out. There's nothing available.
Yeah, I get it, but I mean, just because it's an exemption, people need to understand we're doing something outside the norm and why we're doing it. Okay?
Okay.
Move to approve P, please.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Hollowell to approve item P. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? There are none. All right then, item L, Commissioner.
Reason I pulled this, I just want everybody to know that it's out there and it's gonna be available for bid, where we can talk about it a little bit. Is there anything in here, Shelley, on that bid spec on the gas and diesel changed this year? Is it all the same?
No, it's the same.
Okay. Just so we made it aware in court that it's coming out, so we didn't miss somebody.
Okay.
I move to approve.
Okay, Commissioner Arndt moves to approve item L. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Snuggs. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And there are none. Item L is now passed with the rest of the consent agenda. Brings us to item 7. At this time, we will open a public hearing at 10:08. The subject is reinvestment zone 2022-01, being approximately 1,300 acres for Compadre Solar LLC, located along County Road 329, Gainesville, Texas, and owned by Compadre Cattle Company. Okay, does anybody need to speak on that, or?
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. You guys hear me okay?
I hear you fine.
My name is Garrett Peters. I'm a consultant for Next Area Energy Resources, which is the reason I'm here today to talk about the project. What we're requesting is a reinvestment zone to be created. This will allow us to enter into hopeful tax abatement negotiations for this project. It is a $193 million investment, 150 megawatt solar farm. It's located south of Era in southern Cooke County, just right off 51. It's a little bit over 1,300 acres. It's a one landowner project. It's Compadre Cattle Company. The project will be the Compadre Cattle Solar Farm. As you gentlemen likely know, NextEra has been in the community and in Cooke County for quite some time, since 2008 with the Wolf Ridge Wind Farm, which they just recently repowered. Looking to continue that investment here in Cooke County, which is the reason we're putting this project in front of you guys. It's a little bit ways off. We're going to start construction in 2024. That's the hope, and be in service in 2025. But one of the boxes we need to check early on is the financial incentives we hope to get for the project, as well as the road use agreement and all the other items that come about pre-construction. So happy to answer any questions about the project or about what we're proposing. Thank you for having me.
How many people is it going to employ once it's done?
Sorry,
How many people will it employ?
So solar project, the industry norm is about 1 to 2 people. As you can expect, that's much different than the wind farm. The wind farm, 6 to 8 people. But no different than a wind farm during construction. It will be about 150 to 250 people, and the construction timeline is about 16 to 18 months for a project of this size. So solar, as you guys have probably seen from the other projects that you've had, it's a large influx of activity during the construction, but after the fact, it just sits there and generates electricity and gets taxed.
For my benefit, about how many acres does the solar area actually encompass?
The total boundary that we've set up for the project is about 1,300 acres. Granted, panels will not cover 1,300 acres
Right.
because we need to respect, waterways, floodplains, things like that. We're not gonna put panels where we shouldn't, or we could lose them at a later date. So it would be smaller than that. For a 150 megawatt project, you could say anywhere from 800 to 1,000 acres would be what the actual panels would cover within that boundary.
Okay, and what sort of conveyance will you have after the solar is? Will you need to add more power lines, I assume, and?
At this time, it's my understanding that we will not need to build a long generation timeline, no sir.
Okay. Any other questions about compadre?
Not in the public hearing.
Okay. Any questions down this way? All right, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Let me ask something while he's
Sure.
there.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Today, you're asking for us to approve the reinvestment zone only.
That's correct. Totally
There's
a
no
non-binding
request for an
action.
abatement
That's
in
correct.
any of today's documentation.
That is correct, yes. We're simply asking for the boundary to be created and hope that we can have those discussions at a later date.
Okay,
It does say notice that they will come to us for an abatement.
Well, yeah,
at a later time.
yeah, I read it, but I want to be sure we've got that recorded, that there's no abatement being considered. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else wish to speak on compadre? Mr. Tyler?
Judge, Commissioners, my name's Rod Tyler. I would like an abatement too. Everybody would like an abatement. Nobody likes paying taxes. But they are not, compadre cattle, solar farm is not bringing any permanent workers. Like he said, maybe one or two. It's not creating any jobs for this community. And something that you need to consider is that he can build that solar farm at any time, even without a reinvestment zone. The reinvestment zone gives him the opportunity to get an abatement. He does not need an abatement. Once you start that, you have set a precedent for everyone else. It's time to say no to these abatements. If you will check with our tax office, Doug Smithen, as to what the schedule is, these solar farms are depreciated at a very high rate. They come in at a very high value, but in the very end, you do not get much tax money off of them. So I urge you to vote no for the reinvestment zone and let them put them in at his own expense. Thank you.
Any comments or
We can close,
questions of
close the hearing if you.
Mr. Tyler? No, okay. At this time, it's 10:14. We'll close the public hearing. Item number 9, deliberate and consider possible action establishing the reinvestment zone 2022-01, being approximately 1,300 acres for Compadre Solar, LLC, located along County Road 329, Gainesville, Texas, owned by Compadre Cattle Company. Any discussion on this, or anybody want to make a motion?
Establishing the reinvestment zone doesn't mean we're gonna give them an abatement. It just means it gives all the entities the opportunity for an abatement. And forgive me for not knowing, I guess I should have asked this in the public hearing, but do y'all have to have the reinvestment zone open for the federal money that they get?
So that's a great question. So the Chapter 312 reinvestment zone that we're asking for only pertains to Chapter 312,
Okay.
which would allow us the opportunity to enter into tax, or allow the entities the opportunity to enter into
So it
tax
doesn't
abatements
affect
in the
any
future.
federal money that.
Right, and so I agree to the point of the jobs. It's not the industry norm for a solar project to employ a large amount of people. 1 to 2 is pretty standard. Along with that, there is no demand on local services though once the construction is complete, right? So it's a very high yield project in the fact that this land is ag land right now. It's generating very little tax revenue. Even with the abatement that we're proposing, over 30 years for the county alone, it would generate $5 million in tax revenue, even with the abatement. For Air ISD, the school district, over 30 years, it will generate $22 million of property taxes. So it's a very, very high yield project for land at this time that is in ag exemption. But I agree, the jobs are not what we'd like to see, large manufacturing, the other types of businesses we're trying to incentivize to come to the county. Did I answer your question? No, sir? Any other questions?
I do believe you said that the jobs would primarily be during the construction phase.
That's correct, yes, sir.
Okay.
Without the reinvestment zone, the school district doesn't get the chance to entice them or anything.
Right.
So that's the deal with reinvestment. We've done multiple reinvestment zones in my short time here and have not granted tax abatements on them. We just the most recent windmill we did a reinvestment zone. We did not grant a tax abatement, but one of the school districts did. Like I said, it gives them an opportunity to entice people because it will increase their tax revenue, but it doesn't mean we have to do it.
Okay, just to be clear, all we're talking about today is just the reinvestment zone.
And I'm not for an abatement on it, so I have a problem with the investment zone.
Okay. And is that a motion?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion is made to allow the creation of the reinvestment zone by Commissioner Snuggs. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it with discussion.
All right.
I'll just add to what Commissioner Snuggs says. I think it's upon us to create the zone, and then there's a school board out there that's gonna have to go make the decisions what that school wants to do. And then when it comes back to us, it's on us to decide what we want to do to represent the county.
Right.
And so,
This isn't a vote.
this
for
is
an
absolutely not a vote for an abatement, and it's not a vote in support of abatement, as far as I'm concerned.
abatement. Same here.
Exactly. I think we're all clear on that.
I feel like it's our duty to give all the other entities that want to do it. I mean, you got the hospital,
Sure.
school,
College.
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 So, it's up to them if they want to entice them.
They may can find some benefit, and that's on their
That's
board,
on their duty.
and they're accountable to their people.
All right. We have motion is made and seconded. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed to the reinvestment zone motion?
Hey,
Who's the nay? Okay, Commissioner Arndt is opposed to the reinvestment zone. All right then. The motion passes 4-1. Item number 10, public hearing regarding replat of lot 625, 626R of Lake Kiowa, Inc. subdivision located at 224 Colt Drive, Lake Kiowa. And that will be opened at 10:19.
Good morning, gentlemen. My name is William Smith. My wife, Patricia Smith, is back here in the corner. Thank you for letting me speak. We moved here about 2.5 years ago to Lake Kiowa because our kids moved out to West Texas, and we didn't want to move out to West Texas. We love Lake Kiowa. We recently purchased the land adjoining to us, adjacent to us, on Colt Drive. And we want to add on to our house. And so we want to adjoin those two lots together so that we can expand our house. Any questions I can answer?
I remember back from my JP days many years ago where there was some problem with additions to structures. The homeowners association, I guess, is who really controls that.
Yes, the architectural committee controls all
Okay,
that, yes.
okay.
Yes.
Are we talking about something here that is approved by the homeowners or would be approved?
It
by
would
the-
be approved by the homeowners association, yes.
Okay, so what would the add-on be? Would it be another, like garage or?
No, it's actually, we'll add on about 1,500 to 2,000 square foot plus another garage onto that land.
Yeah, normally on these, as long as the POA signs off on it, I don't ever have a problem with it because the POA is far stricter on everything than we are.
Yeah, we had to present this to the board and the board approved.
My packet's incomplete, but do we have the POA?
That's what
I have it, yes.
Okay.
It's been approved.
Yeah.
Kathy, so that was POA approved?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, Kathy's been very helpful through this whole process, so.
Okay. Then anybody else wish to speak? Any other questions, first of all? Anyone else wish to speak on the replat? If not, I will close the public hearing at 10:21. Item number 9, deliberate and consider possible action establishing the reinvestment zone, being approximately, I'm sorry, item number 12. Deliberate and consider possible action regarding the replat of lot 625, 626R of Lake Kyle Inc. subdivision, okay? Do I hear a motion?
I make the motion we approve this replat.
A motion, Commissioner Snuggs, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Arndt. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? There are none. Replat is approved.
Nice to meet y'all.
Thank you for coming.
Okay.
Okay, item number 13. We're going to deliberate and consider possible action regarding the Main Street parking lot, which is possibly approve the award or rejection for Cooke County bid FY 23-001 remote parking lot. I don't have any information on that. Well, I don't think we have a bid yet, do we?
Sure.
Oh, we do have, okay.
Use the bid tab, should be in your packet.
Oh, okay. Then, pardon?
I said, I'm just trying to get to it.
Trying to get to it, okay.
Yeah, I see the bids. I think they're insane, personally.
Okay,
He said he thought this too high.
I think, and part of it is with the rules that we have to follow with the engineering and all that stuff, but I get frustrated every time we have to do anything. Everything's expensive. And costs are going up, but the way we have to do things,
It's a good old government we created.
yeah. I mean, $400,000 for this parking lot,
what were the bids?
right there.
That was my original.
That's what you thought?
Last year I put 450 in last year's budget.
So that's what we put in it? For some reason I thought we thought it was gonna come in around 2 or 250 plus the engineering and all that stuff.
Well, and what we spend on architect and design, Shelley, do you know?
No, off the top of my head.
But-
Yeah, like,
30.
yeah, 3,500 stands out in my brain.
I mean, the question is it a $400,000 priority at this point? I mean, I don't,
At least we have somebody willing to do it at this point, you know? Just
How long you been working on this thing? Since
Since
I've been
on
coming?
it. 2 years.
been working
3
on it a
years.
while, but, you know, I don't know how much
Well-
it benefits actually the county.
We got it bought, then we had some boundary disputes. We haven't been working on, you know, there's been a whole big process, not just the getting the bids and all that. We had some things to square up and see how where all the chips fell.
The
If
land's
it's something
been
you think we're
secured.
gonna do, we probably need to do it now. I don't see anything getting cheaper for a good while. I mean, if you really think that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, that's the question, is a parking lot the best use of that property, you know?
I feel a lot better about it now that I know we have budgeted for that amount. I guess just my wishful thinking thought it would come in far less than that. Of course, this is more than just a parking lot, landscaping, curbs, sidewalks.
And part of that is City of Gainesville requirements, part of it is state requirements,
Yeah.
you know, code.
Code, yeah. And
So,
when I say all the things we have to follow, it's all the crazy commercial codes. So,
and any public works, and that includes renovations, construction, that's the term the state uses, public works. Over $100,000 requires a payment bond and a performance bond, and so it costs the companies more to get the bonds and.
I got a question here. What kind of liabilities do we pick up if we create a parking lot, insurance-wise? What,
The same as.
Minimal?
No, we're not responsible for any accidents or.
okay. But Shelley, you originally thought it might be somewhere in that ballpark there, or?
Well, you know, my husband used to be an estimator and he worked for an engineering firm, so he is the one that gave me the guess. Yeah.
you hit it pretty damn close.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, the low bidder did not meet specs. And
Right.
so, the Lynn Vessels is, local Texoma area,
Not a lot of work in this area, Lynn Vessel says.
but that would be the next low bidder. And the number of days to complete is 90. The day of motion is 90 days.
What, are you allowed to say in court what was missing on that bid?
They didn't include their number of days and they did not submit a 5% bid bond.
Should we, maybe table it and get some answers to those questions, or
What questions?
They're answered.
in the,
It's unfair to the people that completed the application.
Yeah.
On the
Okay.
first
They
pass.
completed their bid.
okay,
The most problematic was they didn't include their 5% bid bond.
okay. Is anyone here represent? Okay.
I represent Lynn Vessels Construction.
Oh, you do? Okay. Do you have anything to?
Can I approach?
Sure, absolutely.
Good morning, my name is Lance Wood, I'm the one that put the bid together. To let you commissioners know, if you're not familiar, there is a $10,000 contingency that was bid into that for anything. I'll tell you what I got into. We've done a lot of these streets for the city of Gainesville, worked on several sump packages for Ron and for Barry. And so what we've done is I went out there and physically looked at the site. You guys had asked for all the water meters to be removed. The city removed them. Our pricing includes bringing the water across from Brahms where the city wants it to tie in for the irrigation system. The engineering plans were not that great on the irrigation system, but we've got all of that figured out, put in there. We've also got a rental temporary fencing system that would be around the site for safety, to keep everybody safe. And I thought other than that, the engineer done a pretty good job on his plans, but there is, like you said, there's a lot of stuff that goes in here that they want us to do, so.
No, there's no offense against you.
Yeah, no, it's,
Everything's crazy.
we just have to bid what we've got
Yeah.
given to us,
Yeah.
so.
But on the, running the water from Brahms over, who's driving that?
That's the city. The city said there's a 2-inch line on the opposite side that said that it is terminated, that they're not gonna run anything off of it. And then they don't have anything on Main Street. So the other street there where Brahms is, that's where we're gonna have to come across. But I've already included all that to do the road cut and everything.
See, that was one of the things I said, that it had well, the first time we didn't get any bids, I said it had irrigation and all this stuff, and thought we could throw that
Do we have, a-
turf like Costco and Sam's are doing now,
Yeah.
to have to water that stuff.
There's not much sod there.
yeah,
Not
do we
much.
have enough,
Sidewalks
do we have
in,
enough
not a
grass
lot. So, I
going
mean,
across there to warrant
Yeah.
going under that street with water?
I mean, that's, of course, it look
I mean,
nice, but it's like,
Be a public parking lot, right?
Yeah, for the
You
most
think-
part, it's a
You would think the city could waive that little bit of sod and, I mean, just trying to get under the road's gonna cost you some more
Well, we're gonna have
fortune.
to open cut the road, because we're not really sure where the water line is, so. But
But-
I've got that backfill per their detail in there, that work in there.
I would suggest we have a conversation with the city and ask them if they're mandating grass for some reason. Do you know?
I don't know.
I mean, and if they're not, then why do we need water? I'm sorry.
As far as irrigation, you're not gonna hurt my feelings if you take that out. Believe me,
Yeah,
it's
well,
another
that's
something that I've
okay.
gotta try to maintain.
That's gotta be a considerable amount of the cost, does it not?
And I'm thinking.
It is, there is an item in there that says irrigation, it's got a separate
And I
item.
say we don't,
Yeah.
our packet doesn't, we're not looking at that
And
today.
my thought is not even so much the front end cost, it's the future maintenance of,
Sprinkler heads and all that stuff.
And I'm sure Ricky's over there thinking, oh, fun.
Yeah, and then that's gonna require some electricity and stuff of that nature, I would think that we,
I mean, I know that the parking lot's gonna be very beneficial to, you know, the
it's gonna be
downtown
huge for the
area.
city and the
Yeah, it's not so
civic
much gonna
center.
benefit us, it will help on jury days, it's gonna help tremendously. It'll help just downtown as a whole, but, you know, it's just, you know. it's a lot
Oh,
of
driver
money.
license and.
Yeah, it'll help,
GPS and
it'll
all,
help, it'll
yeah.
help all that, it's a
It'll
good
help
thing. And, you know, just, you know, but it's just a lot of money and we'll make the right decision.
Rick, I know that you've worked with this. Do you have anything you'd like to add one way or another?
I don't, all I know is gonna be a lot of maintenance on a little bitty strip of grass.
Well, that's,
And going forward, if we get out of that, that's the best option. It makes no sense to me to put an irrigation system and where you're gonna put the controller and.
Exactly.
And it might just be for the city requirement, you know, for that downtown look.
That was our only question that we
Yeah.
had when we bid this. The engineer of record was on vacation. I couldn't get anybody in his office to call me back. Of course, a lot of people were off in between Christmas and New Year's, but, you know, we've got a price in there for putting a pedestal for the electric to come to, but we really don't know at this point where the electric, you know, where you guys want the pedestals. So all of that's kind of, you know, needs to be worked out.
Shelley?
When we award it, but.
If we, are we allowed to keep the bid, talk to the city about that part, and then use pieces of that bid, or does that blow everything up? You understand what I'm saying? Like do like a la carte from that bid, if we don't have to put down sod? If
We're
we could put-
changing our
we could put-
specs.
If we could put down like artificial turf or something that doesn't have to be watered.
Well, you could award it and then do a change order to cut that.
that would be the way.
That's when the legal out.
That would be the way.
Because if you do that,
Concrete be
then
done with.
I don't know if everybody did it the same way.
Right, yeah, I knew that there had to be a catch, and that makes sense.
But you don't have a problem with that.
No, I don't have a problem with that. Normally what it is, state law and standards say that, you know, you got 25% in there. So as long as that change order doesn't change the bid by 25%, then, you know, if it does, then you have to renegotiate with the contractor, usually is how that is.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna hurt my feelings if you take it out, because I'm not making tons of money off the irrigation system. To me, it's just another thing that adds more time for me to.
You know,
If we could get them to agree to take that out, and if they think they have to have something there, just put some river rock or something, you know, just a rock
good
flower
idea.
bed with that. I mean, we're not talking about,
I mean, I don't know what the cost difference, it depends. When you get in that river rock, it all depends what you want and where it's coming from. You know, if you get stuff from Colorado, the freight on it's pretty, it's quite a bit, but I think we could find something pretty local.
Oh, there's stuff
that would be
local.
fine.
Yeah.
not local like.
So, I mean, you know, there's costs associated with it, but I would think that it would be cheaper than that system.
Yeah, we could probably haul some granite out of.
Can we just concrete it?
Well, that's just, it's gonna be the city on that. Because
know.
they're gonna have some greenery rules or landscaping rules, that's what we need to do.
Your plan is well laid out. There's not a lot of green space.
Right.
If you look at it in between the street parking off of Main and the parking lot we're building, there's sidewalk in between it.
3 feet?
So,
2
well, there's
foot?
7 foot, it's actually 6 foot of sidewalk, and then you got your curbs. But you've got, that whole area is covered in sidewalk, because they've got sidewalk going from Main Street all the way down to the other street. I think it's Water Street on the other side. So there's not, all your green space is just mainly in your island areas there that come off the main road, so.
To me, if you put river rock in there, and I'm just thinking as a kid, I'm gonna pick that rock up and throw it
Oh,
in the
yeah.
car. If it's concrete, he's not gonna tear that.
Well, and I don't know why you couldn't sod it and just not water it.
Yeah.
I mean, you grass it and go on and.
Do we have a sprinkler system on the courthouse property? Or we-
Yes.
Okay.
But
And the library.
In the library, okay, so it's not uncommon, I thought we just depended on Mother Nature for all that, so. Okay.
But you have to have electricity and a control panel.
Right, yeah. Every sprinkler system I've ever had at homes I've lived in are a nightmare, so.
Yeah, you work on it every
Yeah,
spring.
they're miserable.
Well, that sounds like a pretty good idea to
Accept it and
accept it and
talk to the city and then.
talk to the city.
Well, I just emailed the engineer, so I'll call him and say we're gonna get back.
Okay.
We could,
I mean, you can table it.
just for just a couple of minutes
I
and come
think-
back to it and see if we get an email back. Are you doing the same thing over there? You taking care of something else? Sorry, I didn't mean to throw you under the bus.
I just sent the city manager.
That's what I
a text.
figured, okay.
I figured might as well go right to the source.
Yeah, can we,
Well, if he's gonna agree
set
to,
this item aside?
Just set it aside.
For just a
Suits me.
second, see if we get another
I'll
answer.
say if he agrees to work with us on it, I mean, we could,
Cause I agree with Matt, nothing's going down, and it's very beneficial, we've been working on it for a long time, it just, me being cheap, and it would be cheap.
I mean, we could approve it with the understanding that, you know, the irrigation system, that line item may come out.
I'm all right with that. I mean, as long as the city's okay with that, you're, like I said. you're-
Right.
I mean, that's ultimately what it's gonna be anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that way,
Any other thoughts from you?
Don't have any right now.
Well, let's do that. Let's go ahead and set it aside for right now, and then if we don't hear anything by the time court's over, then we'll table it and come back next time.
Okay.
Want to do that?
Can we do that in our bid, Shelley?
Thank you,
Sorry,
John.
Can we do that with our bid deal?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can table it.
Okay.
Thanks for thank you for explaining that to us.
Yeah, glad you were here.
yes.
Okay, and we're not really tabling, we're just setting aside.
Setting aside just for.
Setting aside for right now.
Come back to it.
Well, all right then.
14, is that right?
Item 14, going to deliberate and consider possible action regarding the Crest Building. And as far as I know, there's nothing new on the Crest Building, is there?
You would be the one to know.
I know, and I don't know, so,
My
but
thought,
that's not,
my thoughts on the Crest Building at this point is to let, our agent know we're aggressive. If y'all like that idea.
now, is that listed with Tierra? Who is that listed with?
Misty Smith is their contact.
Do what now?
Misty
Yeah,
Smith is
okay.
their contact.
Okay. All right,
We
then
did.
there'll be no action then on item 14. Did you have something you wanted to say, Matt?
I was saying, are we in a super big hurry to get rid of it, is there, I mean, I don't
Wanna buy it?
wanna take it, well, not really, but,
No, and there's no possibility of taking a loss at all. It's just,
It's not a fire sale, we
it's not a
just,
fire sale, it just, we've been,
I know it's been
I'd
talked
like-
about for a while, it kinda sounds like we're in a hurry to move it, and
I'm not.
Curious what's-
I had so much apprehension about how we did those two buildings deal, I would just feel better than if we didn't own both the buildings downtown, so that was just me personally talking to start a dialogue between all of us.
of course, we,
I'm not gonna give it away. It's
Right,
a
no.
fortune, it's just a matter of, I'd feel better if we weren't sitting on that one now that we have bought the Prosperity Building, so. Because whenever I agreed to go ahead and move forward with the Prosperity Building, we had that Crest under contract. so
Right.
It was shiny and rosy until that fell through. That's just a
Okay.
conservative me talking again. Cheap.
Item 14 is no action. Item 15, deliberate and consider possible action regarding county radio communication system. Commissioner Hollowell.
I gotta digress just a second.
Sure.
That's Weaver and what makes up the southwest corner over there?
Maine.
Not being rude, Joe, just multitasking.
That's good.
While he finishes that text, I'd just like to say welcome to the court.
Yes.
To Commissioner Seeking and Judge Ron.
Well, thank you.
I meant to do that at the beginning of court. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I had every intention early on. Radio stuff. 700 is up and running on EMS and the sheriff's office. You guys get any feedback?
Good on that.
Good on
Okay.
that, yeah.
All right. We understand we're having some issues on the fire analog side. I actually have Motorola techs and engineers here today to be working through some of that. Having some intermittent issues. Some garbling, some dropping of some dialogue. I think our goal is to have an adequate audio and coverage that meets or exceeds what we had when this process started. I asked Ray Fletcher last week, he was out of town, but he's off talking to the various fire departments, trying to understand what type of radios we have out there and whether or not we have hardware issues or software issues. But we're in the process of collecting data from the departments, in addition to some software adjustments. We currently have 4 towers out there, which is twice what we did have. And when you key up the radio, you're not sure necessarily which tower you're going to hit at one point. So they're tweaking those so that all the towers don't become receptive at the same time, for lack of a better word. It's going to sound different whenever we get it completed, but I have absolutely no, after talking to the Motorola engineers and the techs, I have absolutely no reason to believe that we won't have adequate audio. And there's, besides making adjustments to the towers, they can also turn up the mic gains on the radios, and you should be able to hear audio well above any background noise that you might have. Questions, concerns so far?
I want to interject.
Okay.
So if it doesn't work, analog, can we go to digital? And I'm hearing digital, if they go to digital, they want to have that gargle stuff. If we go to digital with this inventory, how many radios are we going to need if we do that, if that will work? And what number is that going to be?
Well, first off, I think that we've got to go collect the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
The fire department's, Fletcher has been asked to go do that. And depending on how long it takes us to get those numbers back, you know, how many radios are actually digital capable, then the cost of radios, how are you going to fund it? And all that's premature at this point, I think, until we find out if we
Here's
have.
what I'm saying, why I'm saying it. Is because, as everybody knows, I mean, this parking lot took us 2 years, 3 years. They're in a position right now, and I'm hearing it left and right, that I'm getting gargle. I mean, I hear it on my radio. It's different spots, and I understand they're working on it. But we need to have something in place that where we can purchase. I mean, it might take us 6 months to get those radios.
It may take months to get them. There's also probably, you need to go, one is right now, I mean, if we go buy 100 radios at $2,500 a piece, you're looking at $250,000. I don't know where that's sitting at this point in time. And I know there's a push and everybody wants to go digital, but right now, if we can make analog where it works correctly, you know, and we're not putting somebody's life at risk, my thing would be go fix our analog before before we look at digital. Like you said, it might take 6 months to get that. There's probably also, and once we get the software issue worked out, we need to go look and see how many radios won't work for anything, you know, and we've got some CM300s and 1225s out there that are not even digital capable.
Right.
So.
And the Kenwoods aren't.
The Kenwoods are digital capable.
No, they're not.
Okay. They're absolutely digital capable.
They're
They
not.
will not work in a simulcast mode.
Okay,
They will
that's
work
what
in
I'm
an
saying.
analog mode.
Yeah, but
Okay.
that's through the simulcast.
Okay, the Kenwoods will work simulcast analog
Correct.
without a problem,
But they
without the
won't.
risk associated with digital. So, and there's where the problem lies. We were gonna go give them 40 or 50, don't hold me to that number, Kenwoods, and said, hey, we'll give you these Kenwoods, please understand, you can't run them digital, okay, because you risk somebody's life.
Right.
We don't.
And that's where we're at right now, is what I'm saying.
But, again, I'm not disagreeing with you at all. We knew 2 weeks ago we had a problem,
Yeah.
okay? We had Fletcher out of town, we had the Motorola engineers out of town. But I have a great deal of confidence in our Motorola guy when he says, Gary, I can fix it. Audio's gonna work, okay? Coverage is gonna be as good or better. But he said, I can't fix the fact that people say, well, but it doesn't sound the same. And
Well, it's when
I'm
it
not
gets that
asking to.
gargling and it drops it.
Oh, no, that's gotta be fixed. That's not
Yeah.
oh, it don't sound good. I don't have a warm fuzzy feeling about the way it sounds.
Right.
I absolutely agree. We got a problem. We have to address it. But even if we spent $250,000 and went digital, if we didn't, we got 6 months of risk out there.
I know, and that's what I want to say is, can we test on the digital side and fix it, and then find the money?
I personally think that would be putting the cart before the horse. I think that's trying to push us towards digital before we're financially ready.
Shelley, can we do some moving of money?
The problem is when you move it, you're decreasing fund balance as we speak. If we go spend $400,000 on this parking lot, you spend $250,000 on radios, that right now I think that's kind of a want, not necessarily a need, okay?
It is.
It's
if there's a-
premature.
It is if there's a life involved.
Well, I can't argue that, I don't disagree with that at all. But if analog is adequate, we need to exhaust those efforts
I agree with
before
that.
we jump to
But
digital.
we have digital radios now. Every department's got some, but can we do some testing on the digital side? And it might just be clear, like we want it, and then look at the money and find it and get the radios.
Well, the problem is if you start out there now, if anybody goes digital, everybody needs to go digital.
I'm just saying testing.
Well, but while we're testing, that means run out there on a fire and start utilizing digital. You got more than one department shows up, you've got some on digital, some on analog, so they can't communicate. And if you're talking on digital, you can't use your analog. So,
And forgive me, because a lot of this is Greek, but is the digital capability even there, or we're gonna need more equipment?
the
for
digital
that?
capability is there.
Okay.
The issue is the number of radios.
Right.
And the concern is if you put a mixed breed out there or a mixed match, because you got some folks chomping at the bit to go test it, we're gonna end up on a fire out there and everybody can't communicate. And to be able to communicate, well, here's something I don't understand either. Change my thought process just a minute. We had this fire out here on 135, I guess, okay? And we had some people in a building that could talk, or couldn't talk back outside, okay? Were we not operating on a ground channel?
We were, but the ground channel was working because it's just radio to radio. But there was a secondary fire over on 136.
136, 109?
And then the chief was here trying to talk to his crew on the other one. And he couldn't, it would just gargle up. And they were, 4 miles apart from each
Well,
other,
fine.
with a tower between them, and it wouldn't hit right. It would just squelch out.
Okay, but the ground channel's not an issue because it's
Ground
not part
channel's
of
not an
this.
issue.
And our goal was to have at least as good or better than we had initially. And I know for years and years and years, were y'all as far north as the outlet mall on 135?
Well, we were east of the outlet mall.
East and north though? Because
Yeah.
for years and years, at the outlet mall, you could sit out there on a handheld radio or a cell phone, and you couldn't talk. So there's some dead out there. But no, the garble thing, I absolutely agree. We need to fix it. If we go out there digital's gonna be clear.
True.
It's gonna be clear, there's no doubt about that.
It's either on or it's off.
So, well, and the thing about analog, the digital, it'll talk to a certain point. When it drops off, it drops off.
Right.
Analog, it begins to distort, and you get some sense that you're about to go out of range.
Yeah.
You know,
What is the people that are here, you said they're here today?
they're here today.
Okay. What do they think? They think they might have some decent results in like 48 hours or something, or?
It may be something they identify. What they're gonna do is, well, they're gonna tweak the towers to start with, okay? And Motorola, they done us a good job. They came out, they put on all the towers, all the repeaters, everything to make all the VHFs work. Our VHF emergency management's working fine. VHF sheriff's office is working fine to the best of my knowledge. You know any? Oh, that's not true. Emergency management's working fine. It's analog. Sheriff's office is digital. Fire is analog. And our commissioner's frequency, I'm not hearing any garbling or any trash on commissioner's frequency.
You're analog.
On analog.
So we only used it one day, and then there's an error at the sheriff's office, so they were telling us we were on their channel, but they just had our channel turned up that they're
On the console.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
console.
But it's working.
But it was sounding fine.
Yeah.
We were talking a long ways on it.
So that there's something unique about what's going on with Fire VHF analog. And I mean, ultimately at some point, I don't disagree with digital at all, but I don't see us right now, if we can make analog work and put the firefighters in a safe environment, I don't think we're gonna spend $250,000 on digital radio. And we met with, there were several, you were there when we met with, it was some Munster folks there, some North Shore folks.
Yeah,
And
the firefighters.
and they basically agreed, I mean, they would kind of like to have these several radios, these several Kenwoods that we've talked about transitioning to them. And they were saying, hey, we're good with the analog, but they want it
If
to
it
work.
works.
They want it to work. I agree with you
I think-
wholeheartedly.
So, because of course, me and you talked about this, I think while they're working on it, we get the numbers together, get them gathered, because eventually we're gonna go digital on it.
Sure.
So the time spent together to get the numbers together is not gonna be time wasted, because we're gonna have a plan to eventually go to that, whether it's
It'll give
a
us some-
year or 5 years, it's eventually gonna go that way, because whenever I got on the fire department in 2012, everything was analog and stuff started going digital at that point for like EMS and sheriff's office, so I mean, there's always been a transition.
I mean, it's been years to get where we are
Oh, yeah.
with fire and EMS. And I'm sorry, with the sheriff's office and EMS. And we will get there on fire, but I don't know that we get there as soon as everybody would like for us to get there. So.
I'm hoping that, because
VHF
it's stressful, because I'm hearing everything that Adam's hearing, that hopefully in the next day or two, they have it tweaked so people can start seeing the difference and not be panicking about it.
I just want to have that digital backup plan. I'm not saying we're going to vote on money right now.
But
I think Shelley's found some money. So I just want that to be, hey, it's an option for us.
if we start moving money from some other project to fund this, then how do we backfill that project?
What do you mean backfill the project?
Okay, to move this money now, you'd have to go pick.
Well, the whole system we had already planned on the 4 million, where'd that go? Because that come from ARPA
A
money.
big, huge part of that came out of ARPA money.
Right,
And that
so-
was the decision
Well, that
made.
was out of general fund.
And it was
Yeah.
budgeted. See, we don't have anything budgeted in this year at all. So, but I think we're premature. like I said, if at some point in time we, you know, if VHF doesn't work out, we'll have to look at alternatives. But my concern is we're just testing it. Well, what happened? We're going to dangle a carrot out there, and absolutely people are going to like it, those that have it. And those that don't are going to be in a financial crunch, or we're going to have to go help them all. And,
Well, I think
and
we
if we're not
I think
ready,
we need to anyway.
I'm sorry, Bo.
I think that it's our responsibility to have that radio for them. That's part of our contract. In communications.
I agree that we should provide whatever is feasible for a county our size.
Sure.
But there's a difference in a need and a want.
I agree with that. I'm
And
saying,
if VHF meets the need, now, like I said, now, there's a difference in garbled. We don't need it to be garbled.
that's what I'm saying.
But if you can remember, when we went from analog to digital at one point in time, digital sounded funny, and we had to adapt to digital because it didn't sound like what we was used to. We're gonna be hitting 4 towers, and it's gonna sound probably a little different, and you're gonna have, because of the 4 towers, you're gonna have some background noise. But your audio should far exceed any background noise. You and I should be able to talk like we're talking now, and, you know, they may be like cars coming through here. We got background noise, or sirens once in a while, we have background noise, but it doesn't keep you and I from having a dialogue. So,
I just want it right.
yeah.
Well, you know, you all have been working with this for how long now? And
2
it's
years.
kind of new to me. But it just, on the surface, first blush, what it seems like to me is, considering who we're talking about, fire, EMS, sheriff, all of our emergency services, right, essentially, shouldn't they all have everything that they possibly need to conduct their business? Which, to me, sounds like they ought to all be able to have digital.
Well,
And, you know, yeah, the cost is one thing, but I think in general, the public, if they knew that we were spending the money on the emergency services, I think the public would accept that.
I would question that, Judge, because if the public's paying for it and they realize you've got analog and you and I can talk like we're talking now, but we want a little something better.
But we can't.
But
right
we
now.
don't know that it's, we
Well,
don't know that it's gonna,
I don't,
what I'm saying is, it seems to me like we ought to have whatever would facilitate the entities working together because we're talking about lives, we're talking about property, we're talking about all manner of things here. We're not talking about, you know, whether we ought to buy this property or that property or whatever. We're talking about things that people will understand, I think, better than some of the ways we spend our money. Let's put it that way.
yeah, I can't
Why
disagree
don't we
with that.
let Adam and them get the numbers together?
Yeah.
You keep tweaking on the analog. If you can make it, if it can work, then we'll stay with that. But if it doesn't work, then we need to
We need to relook it.
relook it.
But let me address this. Adam doesn't need to be working on it. Ray Fletcher is our point of contact for emergency management. He's our point of contact for fire departments. He's our point of contact with TCOG. Anything to do with this radio system and the fire departments, Ray is our liaison. He's our point of contact. He's
Let Ray
already
get
been
them.
tasked
We
with
just need
that
to get the
matter.
numbers so we know what we're looking at if it comes down to it.
And actually, what that is, the analytical process, I agree with it wholeheartedly. I'm saying, hey, let's go exhaust this and make sure that we need to go spend this money before we go off and tease some people by
Yeah.
letting them drive the Lexus when, if I take your thought process to the nth degree, some of them's gonna want brand new fire trucks or newer fire trucks and newer equipment. And I don't disagree with that, but where do you and I draw the line on expense? I mean, you can't put a price on life, I get that.
Yeah.
Well, I know I talked to one of the firemen yesterday afternoon after they had a run, and he come and told me they was having problems communicating. So if that's the case, we need to get it taken care of.
And we're working on it, man.
Okay.
We're absolutely working
I
on
think
it.
That's what we're doing.
If they get the gargle tweaked out of it here in the next few days, I think everybody will relax, and I think, part of our 5-year plan is, getting everybody off analog, we work towards that.
Well, but
But if,
As long as everybody
if they're not, if they
communicates.
can't get the gargle fixed on this one frequency, we gotta.
Well,
we gotta
but there-
push
Well,
forward.
but you said it yourself. Okay, eventually, we're going to be all digital, right? Why would we spend money to go spend more money?
But we're
It's
not,
just-
right now, it's just fixing the growing pains.
well, you're
Part of the analog channels are working, it's just this one that's not working. So we still have multiple analog channels that are working, but this one's just not, so. But I mean, it needs to be fixed, yesterday, so they're working on it.
I'm optimistic it's gonna work fine,
Okay.
but, that we,
I'm not holding my breath.
Well, you're working with the radio people, right?
That's right.
Okay. And your point was that Ray ought to be the point of contact. I don't disagree with that.
with the fire departments.
With fire departments. However, I would like personally to see Adam work with Ray and the two of them work together with the fire departments, okay?
Okay, let's,
That's our point of contact for the Commissioners Court. You're the point of contact for the radio people, and I think that'll,
I'll give this radio thing to anybody you want to have it.
I know.
But you
I
can't,
know,
you don't
but
want to.
got it.
I've got it, and either you work with me and trust me or you don't.
No,
I mean, we had 4 different people calling
Yeah.
Motorola pricing radios this week. That don't make us look real sharp.
no, that's why I say, if,
So I'm gonna do it or Adam's gonna do it.
I think Adam ought to work with the fire departments, you work with the
No,
radio.
he's too close to the fire departments.
Wouldn't you want somebody that has a little knowledge of what's going on out there on the fire department?
Well, I don't
mean,
think
I
this.
got kicked out of the EMS side, which is okay.
And you know, I'm not
I
questioning,
saved you from the
It
EMS.
saved me from the
and
EMS.
I'm not
but this-
questioning you at all about, when we're talking
Right.
about fighting fires. I don't, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know anybody right now that's closer to the radio situation than I have. I've got 2 years invested in it.
That's my
And
point.
my opinion may not be worth 15 cents, but I'm telling you, if I'm calling Motorola and Adam's calling Motorola.
No, I'm not, he's
I'm not
not
calling
calling
Motorola.
Motorola, he's calling the fire department.
Okay,
You're calling
I know
Motorola.
exactly where Adam's gonna be on the fire departments, and I get it, because I was same with law enforcement.
Well, there's no position for him to be. All we want's the number of radios that we would have to replace
Yeah.
if we can't get it
And
fixed.
Fletcher's gathering that. I
Okay.
haven't been sitting on my tail.
Well,
down.
and Ray's getting them, yes, but as a member of this court right here, we're working together, okay? We're not working you against anybody, we're working together on this thing. And I would like to have, personally, because I'm new to it, if you want to, if nothing else, I'd like to have somebody that knows something about the radio situation. Like to know somebody that's handy with the fire departments, so we can work together, okay? It's not, you're wrong, or he's wrong, or anything like that. We're Commissioners Court, and we're working together. Here I am, first court, and I'm already,
Okay.
we're Commissioners Court.
No, I get it, and I'm not questioning his fire department, but if we weigh in now on what's going on, you got,
Well, do we need to put this off until it's tested?
that's right.
Okay.
Well, and,
I can
so
see- I
it
can
goes
buy
back. Okay, let's get the Motorola and the VHF tested.
Okay.
That's where I'm at this point in time, and I think I'm managing it. I'm off asking what radios are
And I'm just
costing.
saying, I want a backup plan on digital to see if that's gonna work.
Okay, so here's how we get there. We've already talked about it. Fletcher gets with the fire departments. They inventory what their capabilities are. Okay? No reason for him not to do that.
Right.
Okay? Once we figure out what those capabilities are, then we will have some idea how many radios we would have to go purchase to make the step toward digital. But if he's asking them and Ray's asking them,
No, they're asking them together, is what I'm saying.
okay, I don't
Okay.
get that, but do whatever you want.
No, really, I would like for there to be a point of
You see a
contact.
reason for both of you guys to ask what the numbers are?
I think it'd give Ray some guidance.
Okay, He works for that man right there.
And this man's saying that he wants me to take care of it. That's what I'm saying.
Well, guys, I'm telling you, it's close. I mean, you can have it all. It don't make me.
I think it's already happening. Ray's looking, Adam wants to talk with Ray, we'll have
Yeah.
the number, 'cause I wanna know that number too.
We all
In
want
the
to.
meantime, we'll know what the tweaks are being made this week, and hopefully, I'm hoping it's a moot point.
Yeah, I mean, and it may be,
hope it is.
but it,
That's my
I just
hope.
want to plan where if it isn't,
but,
then we're not
and
sitting out there
if
6
Ray,
months.
if Ray needs guidance, Ray is part of this team.
Yes.
And he's been working with me.
I agree.
I'm the one that sent him out to the fire departments to get the numbers. So I guess maybe he's getting some additional supervision. I'm just saying it don't, I mean, guys, it'd be real easy for me to step back and say, get after it, I'm done. So, but anyway, my suggestion would be, go see if what we got can be fixed. And if it can be fixed and meet everybody's expectations, then we don't go off and spend $250,000.
I agree with you on that.
Oh,
We just need
did
to
you?
make sure it gets fixed. And
Yeah, and,
I don't have any, I agree with that too. Should we, okay, let me ask you this. Should we table this till next meeting and bring it up again?
There's nothing to
There's
table.
nothing to table.
There's
It
nothing to
stays on
table.
It's happening.
Well, okay.
It's in progress.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
this
mean,
is
the
steady
discussion.
going. And like I said, I'm not questioning those abilities at all.
No,
I'm saying
I'm
we
not.
get too many fingers in the cookie jar and it gets confused.
Yeah, and nobody's questioning you.
I don't,
Gary.
I mean,
My point is, and a lot of this is for my benefit too, I'll come right out and say it, because you guys have worked with this for a year and a half, 2 years now. And I'd kind of like to know that we're making sure and doing the right thing. And as far as I can see right now, there's not any disagreement or anything like that. I just want to know, for instance, I think it's vital that we do whatever we can for our fire departments and EMS and the sheriff's department.
And
And I think it's also vital to our public that we not spend any more money than we have to. And I think the best way to do that is to go ahead and test, like you said, see if they're gonna work together, and see if we have to go that extra mile. But on the other hand, and Jason said it himself here, if we're eventually going to go to, why would we spend a lot of money right now?
But there's no money being spent to fix any of these things. They're just tweaking stuff that's already there. So we're
Okay.
not spending $10,000 or $50,000 to fix this problem. They're just tweaking what was installed. That is just growing pains. But
there's a
I
huge
want to
push.
have the plan in.
Yeah, yeah, but there's a huge push to go digital, and right now that's creating a little bit of friction because we got folks wanting to go digital prior, while we got other folks working to get VHF straightened out, and that creates a little friction that I don't need.
So who's doing the testing?
Motorola,
Who's doing the testing?
Wesley.
Wesley?
well,
And-
right now, well, there's a crew of Motorola out there right now.
Okay.
Okay, and we knew 2 weeks ago this needed to happen, but you gotta give me time to put it together, guys. And instead, we went to let's jump immediately to digital, and that creates conflict because we
So-
got a group of firemen that really wants to, and I
Let me
get
ask this
it.
question,
Okay,
and this was told to me by a Motorola rep.
okay.
If y'all went digital, it would solve the whole problem.
He's selling Motorola's, buddy, and
They
$250,000.
sold us this whole 700-800
That's
system
right.
that I didn't agree with, but we got it. Now we gotta
Well,
fix it.
and that's a problem.
We bid it out.
We bid it
I
out,
agree.
Motorola was awarded, but, and from the very beginning, there's people that don't like the 700, primarily volunteer fire departments, because they can't talk on the sheriff's office primary. That's the whole rip.
Which is a conflict that I said from in February, because when we had 9/11 in New York, they had the same thing there that we have now. They couldn't communicate with each other, and that's all the fire departments were asking, and that's all they're asking now. We just got to be able to communicate.
Well, but the problem is, 9/11 is what created P25 compatible radios.
Yep, and we're not
With
even
that
there.
came, oh, we far exceed P25.
I can't talk from one department to another or even listen to what they're saying.
You got, on one channel, you have an issue. Okay?
That's a problem.
Well, you go
Do
to
we have a
any,
timeline when the tweaking's gonna be through?
Matt, I don't want to give you an answer because I don't know the answer, but it's not like I said, we had Fletcher out of town, we had Motorola on vacation, they're back, they're here. But I want to go back to Adams, because the whole reason we spent as much money as we did on dual band radios is so that a deputy can talk to anybody out there. All that firefighter's got to do is say, hey, dispatch, have them switch over to my fire channel. They got probably 150 channels in these radios, and many of them are what's called interoperability channels. That is a result of 911. During 911, they had a bunch of people that could not talk to each other because they did not have a common channel. Now with these new radios, we got 150 channels, and probably half of them are common channels, so they switch over. The problem is we got folks that's not good enough. They want to hear what's going on at the sheriff's office. And that's not the case. But dual band, they go out there, all they got to do when they hit the site is say, hey, switch over. The sheriff's office, EMS, any part of these folks, these 700 radios, can switch over and talk to any channel.
Well, Gary, I'm gonna say this. I've been on the fire department for 27 years. And once I went to work at EMS, we monitored sheriff's office. I monitored that all the time. Because you hear the 1050 coming in, the troopers are going out, and guess who's the last one to know? The last two departments to know are EMS and fire. Well, do you think them people that are out there dying give a damn if sheriff's department's there first? Who do you think they want there first? Especially if that vehicle's on fire.
Okay.
They want fire and EMS there first. But in our plethora, we got to have the troopers got to be there first, and sheriff's department's first, and then, oh, we forgot about these guys. We need them there. I always monitored it to where I could hear, because they always called sheriff's department first. I was already on the way to the station, and that's where these guys are saying, we can't hear what's going on now, because that's about an 8 to 10 minute lag sometimes. Well, hell, somebody could be dead in 8 to 10 minutes. And that's what they're saying. Not to disregard any of the other stuff, but that's what the Valley View Fire guys, I mean, they run 5 and 6, 7 calls a day out there on the interstate, and they hear that chatter. Guess what they're doing? They're up and headed to the station. They don't stay at the station, but they're listening to that. Now they can't do that. That's what they're saying. We can't listen to that, which I understand. It does make it safer for the sheriff's office. We don't need all the scanner land and all that. I agree. But the guys, the troops that are out there that are on our side need to be able to hear that. And that's what they're saying. And that's me coming from being on the fire department for that many years and EMS for so many years. Is Matt still in here?
Matt, did you ask the question, when is this testing gonna be done?
When, if he has the idea when it will be finished.
Yeah,
So
that's
we
what
know
I
where
was-
we're at.
That's, I would like to know that too. Will we know more 2 weeks from now than we do now?
Oh, absolutely. But,
Okay.
But we still go back to Adam's concerns here. And you sat in the same meeting I did where we had the guy, I think, from Denton County that says, hey, I can talk to Denton PD. And I asked him, I said, on your primary? And he said, no, on an interoperable channel. And so there's not any place around where other agencies, where fire departments and stuff talk on the law enforcement
I
primary.
agree with you, but I'm telling you what the problem, what the situation is why they felt like they were left out. We're past that.
No, but if we give them 700, we still wouldn't give them sheriff's
I
office
ain't
channel.
saying, no, well,
Wouldn't happen. That's what I'm saying. That was the whole purpose. The sheriff's office, we don't need other agencies operating on the sheriff's office primary.
I say they monitor. You could put it over there to where they can hear it, they can't talk on it.
Well, if you want to add that, but there's probably still reasons that they don't. I mean, we've transitioned over the years. Every one of us had scanners, and we listened to everything that went on, and that's how we spent Friday and Saturday night. Then
I can listen to it right here on my phone.
Well, then there's your answer.
But
the
it's
fire
delayed
guys
about
and the
5 minutes.
ambulance guys, they get paged.
There's another problem.
Well, I
So
understand.
we're having problems at Station 3 and Station 5 not getting the page. That's my next deal. Yes. The page ain't going through. Do we need to put another tower up or
Okay.
raise the tower?
Why is that? That's not going through.
We had to move it. we moved
That's a
it off.
legitimate concern. I mean, it's easy to identify the problem. It's how you come up with solutions that matters.
That's why we're here.
And that is one, what happened is we intended to vacate the tower out by the state school because we thought we was gonna save about $600 a month. Well, the money wasn't the issue at all in the long run. What they did is they sent us a letter and they decommissioned the tower out by the skate school. And so we put it on the tower at Rice Avenue. It's about 100 foot lower than what it was. So now then we get to go make a decision as to, and it didn't have anything to do with Motorola. The pager system and the Motorola stuff are two different beasts, okay? So we're probably gonna have to look at finding us some tower space out on the east
How
side.
tall is this tower out here?
The monopole?
Yes.
By the time you get elevation off at them, it's not as tall as where we are.
Which tower are you talking
The
about?
one right by the old
The
sheriff.
monopole, the
sheriff.
sheriff's office. But there's some,
Can we raise the towers at the stations and pick that up?
maybe, but it's not just the stations that's the problem. You've got,
Fire departments.
fire departments on the east side that the guys need to get the pagers.
Yeah.
But that's not a Motorola issue.
No, I agree with that, but I mean,
And it needs to be worked. But
see, to me, that's a 911 period issue that we need to address right now. I mean, because if we're getting drops out there, or they're not getting pages, that's a problem.
we need to go work that. That's a whole different beast, but we need to be looking, so while we're cruising around out there, if we see a tower that we think has some elevation and some height to it, somewhere back this direction, then, we need to probably call those up and say, hey, is there a
Can
chance we
put it
get
on
space
our-
on?
Can we put it on our tower out there and have a repeater system?
Is this a radio problem or a tower
No,
problem?
it's a point-to-point problem.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a UHF antenna versus VHF.
Yeah.
And so we have to relocate the antenna and the repeater, the brains of the operation. And that is something that the court, we collectively, if we can find a tower, we need to be looking for it. But all I can do is ask for some indulgence on this other thing. But yeah, you got a very valid point on the pager at it, and we need to be working. Not an overnight fix.
Like I say, if, we'll know more about this whole situation in a couple of weeks.
I think we'll know more about it in a couple of days.
Well,
I suspect.
by next court,
Yeah.
is what I'm saying.
But by next court, it may not even be an issue.
Okay,
There's a real good chance by next court it won't be an issue, but we need to get all this out. So especially you new guys on the court understood and what some of the concerns was, and why the fire departments feel like they do, and why I may not can ever make you can't make all people happy if you sit in this chair.
so in the meantime, we're testing and we're finding out what's going on.
Yeah.
You and Ray can talk to the fire departments, and if you don't mind, you're doing what you're doing and everything else, so we can take this up again in 2 weeks.
Yeah, well,
At the next court, I mean, if it needs to be.
we still got too many people in playing on the fire department part of it, but if that's what you want to do, that's fine. Been a lot of folks involved in what's probably been the third largest infrastructure improvement in Cooke County in the past 18 years. This radio infrastructure deal. You had the jail, you had the courthouse, and probably this radio's been the third largest investment. Been a huge team effort and a decision by the Commissioners Court to fund the project. Without this court, it never would have happened. We had a lot of employees involved, including the auditor's office, Fletcher on the oversight team, Riley Metzler, he was out at the sheriff's office. We had to do installations on 40 or 50 vehicles and inside dispatch, and he was a huge help there. I'm sure I probably left some employees out. I apologize for that. Some of the local businesses involved was Valstar Electric, TNT/Reliable Electric now, J.R. Thompson Concrete, Nortex Communications, and Shipment Communications, all played a huge role in this. Huge role. I'm sorry? Douglas Distributors. Those are local people
What
that
did Douglas do?
they got a,
Have,
Oh,
propane tank
okay.
on
Yeah, and, Enderby Gas took some propane tanks out for us. So, I just want to take just a minute and recognize those folks and say thank you to them. And it helped the local economy because Motorola used these folks to do a lot of the construction. J.R. Thompson come up with us some concrete at Sybil's Bend that we was having a hard time getting anywhere else. So, and then, again, I want to thank everybody I mentioned above and their efforts and ask the indulgence of the fire departments as we work to improve the communications. I'm absolutely a believer we ain't gonna make everybody happy. You know, and don't make any difference how much money you spend. We spent $4.5 million and ain't everybody happy. So, anyway, I appreciate you guys.
We spent $4.5 million, so another $250,000 to make
Ain't
it right.
nothing, it ain't nothing, ain't nothing. But again, as we do that, like I said, we spent $400,000 today, or will, and then that's $650,000, and guys, that's coming right out of your fund balances, right out of your savings.
Yeah.
And you do that about 4 or 5 years, it won't be a decision you and I can make. You're gonna be running off of revenues.
I agree.
And revenues only, and then it won't be, I want this, I need that, and it's 10,000 here and 20,000 there. You ain't gonna be able to fund it. So we can make everybody happy now. In the interim, long term, you may be laying people off, but you know, that's the reality of it.
Well, okay, let's bring this up again in 2 weeks then, if that's all right with y'all. And by that time, we'll know a lot more about what will work and what won't work, and
We'll just leave it on the
just leave it on
15.
there. Yep.
Well, we're not done with, I mean,
No.
we've got interlocals to
I
work
agree.
on. We've got
just be an
formal
update
training.
more than
Yeah,
anything
it'll be an update, but
Sure.
I mean, if I'm the firefighters and I got 15 people asking me for paperwork and to go do something,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, who's running this ship? Who do I really need to be talking to? And the problem, we're getting away from Fletcher being the point of contact for the fire departments or the liaison. And that's your goal. If you want to do away with that, but
No, I don't think we're getting away from that. That's
Okay.
what I said. It doesn't hurt to have somebody from this court working with Ray when he does that. I'm not saying.
I've been giving him
guidance.
direction up to this point.
Do what now?
I've been giving him direction
Okay.
up to this point. I mean, I think I was ahead of the game.
Don't change a thing,
I mean,
okay? But at least Adam has a point of contact with the fire departments, okay? And after all, guys, we're talking about fire, personal protection, EMS. We're not talking about buying another Crest building or something like that. We're talking about things that really matter, okay? And that's what I'm concerned about.
But you got to cap what you spend on any of those things.
I understand. But where is that cap, considering what they do?
Well, we could have a 737 crash out there now, middle of I-35 tomorrow, and I can't have an ambulance parked there waiting, you know. I mean,
No,
we got-
but who's gonna handle that 737 crash?
Well, we
It's gonna
are,
be-
as long as our resources accommodate.
There you go.
But you can't put resources out there, I mean, so you can put a doctor and an ambulance and a
Understand.
firefighter at every house. You can't, you know, and you
And
can't fund
that's not
that.
what, I don't
Yeah.
think that's what we're saying. But it would be nice that they could actually talk to each other and talk to the
I get it.
appropriate people
I get
and
it.
everything else,
You know,
okay? In a situation such as that. And that's what I'm talking
Yeah, I
about.
said early on, our goal should be to provide them what's practical and economically feasible.
There you go.
And
Okay, we'll come back to that one in 2 weeks.
back to the parking lot, I got a question that said,
Go ahead. What'd you find out? And once again, the idea was, do we need to have that grassy zone, right?
yeah. Well, anybody know what the CA district is downtown?
CA district.
Don't mean anything to me. I asked, are we required to have green space? The question comes back, what intersections involved? And I say, is it in the CA district?
Is that like the Main Street?
I've asked him. I'm sure he's busy, but
The CA district.
I hadn't heard that one.
And
Unless he's
either-
got a typo and it was the downtown deal.
Yeah, I don't, I,
Part of
but,
the historic,
I mean,
historical district.
See, I don't know.
Historical.
I don't-
Historical.
yeah. Yeah, I don't, I mean, his first response was no. I lean toward, if you guys decide you want to move forward with it, Vessels was sitting here.
No, I mean, no what?
Huh?
His first response was no what?
Oh, I gotta back up now. Is it in the CA district?
Right.
I don't know what that means. I
I don't
can't
either.
answer the question.
I don't either. But what was no?
Oh, no, that was, no is the answer to there's no green space required.
So no, we don't need one, or?
Sound like we doesn't need grass is what it sounds like.
Okay, well,
But
that's what I was hoping
The
it said.
CA district is the central area district defined. It is established to encourage mixed-use development within the downtown district of the city while maintaining the unique historic character currently found within the district. This district is a pedestrian-friendly district.
I'll say sidewalks.
Handicap.
Well,
What?
I don't know the boundaries of the central area district.
Well, for pedestrian friendly, I agree. Sidewalk sounds like that's pedestrian friendly. I don't know.
So it sounded like he said, no, we don't need grass.
That's kind of what I think.
Well, he's saying if it's not in the.
If it's not in the CA, okay.
Well, he broke it up. He broke the answer up. So that made it a little bit of a challenge.
That would kind of fall more in your walking trails and stuff, wouldn't it?
I kind of think so. But
I bet that's what it is.
because he asked me, what are the streets that create the southwest corner? And I said, Weaver, Maine. That's when I asked you guys. And he says, no,
So then he's already.
it is in the CA. He's not asking me. He's saying, no, it is in the CA district.
And so it requires. Landscape.
Oh, okay, never mind. That's what he's saying. No, I see. Still,
Did you ask him if we could do away with the?
you read it. You tell me what I asked and what he said.
Are we
Green
required to
paint.
have any green space or parking lot or the street? We remain. No, it is in the CA district. No, we are not required.
That's what I'm reading.
Okay,
To have green space in the parking lot.
so, no, we're not required to have grass.
Are we required to have any green space? No, it is in the CA district.
Okay, so no's the answer.
Okay, so it sounds like we can do away with the grass and the sprinkler systems and all of that kind of stuff. Is that the way?
Yeah, that's what I think.
All right.
So,
Where did,
Mr. Bessel? or
I think he
Mr.
took
Wood?
off.
think he took off? Well,
can you blame him?
no. Oh,
And I apologize if
About
I've
ready
showed
to.
some frustration, but this
We know. I
two and a half
understand.
years
I
of this has
understand.
been, you know, it's been interesting.
I understand.
And I haven't heard from the architect, so.
Okay. Well, are you guys ready to move on with the bid then?
Well, he said they would tweak it, so if we can do that on a change order.
Might save us quite a bit of money if we get to change it too.
I would save us, the way it showed on there, about
Especially that.
28,000.
You would think.
And save a lot of money in the future, not having to mess with that sprinkler system and all that crap.
Well, no kidding.
And
All the
mowing
drones
it,
and-
paying to mow it and.
That's right.
I would,
What do you think, Rick?
I think it's better just have all concrete.
There you go.
You want to take weed eater over and clean that up every week?
Well, you have a sprinkler system and you have to inspect the backflow. Got an inspection on it. They're off without it.
If it just offset the concrete, I'd just tell him to do that.
Well, okay then. Does anybody want to address the bid then?
I'm gonna let somebody else do it.
You gonna let somebody else do it? Well, how about
I'll
if
make
I
a
do
motion,
it?
we accept Lynn Vessel construction bid
You did, okay.
with, knowing that they made the agreement to
With
do away with
the-
the irrigation.
That's right, with the, and they will revisit the irrigation.
Right.
Okay. Motion is, Commissioner Sicking, that we go ahead and accept the vessels bid, with the provision that they revisit the, irrigation and grass issue.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Hollowell. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None.
Only took, what, a year?
Passes 5-0.
Thanks
Say
for
again.
stepping up and making the motion. I'm all for it, but my wallet was being tight on it.
You're a new guy, can you do that?
Probably not.
Yeah. All right.
Are y'all gonna assign someone to oversee the project?
The guy that made the motion, probably. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, he's in dirt work. We don't
He's
need
a dirt worker anyway. I mean,
Why would we want him on there?
I withdraw my motion.
no, too late. I'm sorry.
I'll be willing to assist on that deal.
Okay, so we're gonna have Commissioner Sicking as the point of contact with Commissioner Snuggs as his able assistant. All right then.
So it'd be on,
That's,
16.
On to 16, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the annex. Okay. Have we already done the punch list and everything on that?
Yeah, we're ready to move in. We lack, how many locks we lack, Rick?
That's hard to answer. We have everything locked that needs to be locked to open.
The perimeter doors to each office is secure, right?
The entry door to the public, yes.
Yeah, okay.
I don't have enough to do every door there, that's on order. Should get it sometime in February, hopefully.
We ought to be moving people.
How about furniture? You got?
Furniture showed up today, those that ordered,
Other than the courtroom chair?
yeah, unless
Okay.
there's, but, if he doesn't have a trial set, not, people ought to be moving.
Yeah, I'm gonna start moving my stuff out of my office tomorrow if I've got some free guys to.
We need to start moving IT, and he's gonna be busy, I'm sure, putting some phones in and stuff of that nature. Need to ask the judge to go ahead and start moving.
I assume the internet's ready to go, that's all I need to move in.
Yes, ready to go.
Would it be easier to wait till, on IT, till after everything's done, so you're not in the middle of moving everything and trying to hook everything up at the same time?
I'm open to whatever the court wants. We can start moving some of IT. It's gonna take a long time to move, so don't wait on me, in other words.
What kind of help do you need?
Sorry, sir?
What kind of help do you, do you need?
We'll need help moving desks and a large workbench that has to be disassembled to move up there. Moving equipment and supplies is just on us, because we want to organize as we go and not have a huge mess up there.
Okay.
So
If you needed-
primarily furniture.
If you needed help moving furniture one day, I could loan a little labor, because I know Rick's team's got enough to do too, so.
Thank you.
That's what I was gonna ask you next. Do you guys need help moving desks and things like
Think,
that?
I'm gonna use my crew.
Okay.
I have 4 employees.
I mean, one comment, did you say about something about maybe some of the inmates? maybe
Yeah,
help?
I can get in.
I mean,
We probably moved EMS two. There's gonna be a lot of moving in a couple of days there, and I'll probably get some EMS help.
Do you still use inmate labor?
Yes.
EMS what?
So you guys have it handled then?
I don't know about that. But, I think Matt's right. I mean, we got people that's gotta move in or need to be moving in, and you need to supply their needs. But at the same time, we don't need you to be 6 months getting moved, you know. But we need somebody to ease over and ask JP to start moving. I understand there was some concern about cameras upstairs. Well, we got cameras downstairs, so they can't get in and out the doors without, they can't get to speak to me.
The security camera vendor will be here first thing tomorrow morning, so those cameras will be up and running by the end of the day.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was I think that was the last reservation JP's office had. They think we need to be moving. We need the one parking spot near the back doors, closest to the back doors, in my opinion, we need to paint that off as loading zone.
But you're gonna give it to me, other than that.
You put your name up there, say.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that would be a suggestion is that we get that painted, marked up. I don't, what's the rest of the court?
I need to go look at them and see, we need to probably re-space a whole bunch of spots over there.
Well, see, I don't think
But we
that
can't
we
mess with it
have.
until they're out of there.
See, I think we only have 2 spots right now that are truly ours until the prosperity thing
Okay.
matures.
I was ahead of myself.
Okay.
You know, something else occurred to me too. There's a lot of, not AMA, but a lot of
ADA?
ADA issues that are going to have to be dealt with at the Prosperity, evidently, according to that briefing that I saw earlier on. Is this stuff that could be done during that time, or?
We don't,
does it need to
I
be
think
done
that's,
right away?
I think that's premature, Judge.
Okay.
And you can do up to, I think they said $50,000 or a certain percentage of the renovation without having to go address ADA.
Okay,
And you only have to address, let's say there's $100,000 worth of ADA stuff that needs to be done, but you only spend the 50. You only have to spend 10 or 20% of the 50. You don't have to do the whole ADA.
Okay.
You only have to, for a percentage of what we spend, but if only do like mechanical upgrades, that doesn't even trigger the ADA.
okay.
And
But
we
it's,
know,
we're early on that.
we know that we housed a large part of that second floor in the past and didn't touch the footprint at all. See,
Right.
so unless we really get carried away renovating, we may not have to,
I think we can house the bottom floor with
yeah,
a couple
very
simple
little.
walls, very little. Spend as little as we can on that thing.
But there could be ADA concerns, you're absolutely right.
Not to get too off base, Pam, do you need any help? Do you have anything in your basement that needs to go over there if you need help too? I know you're excited, you finally get a place to
Most of
call
my
home.
election stuff is over there,
Okay.
so.
But see, she can't move until Daryl.
Right, for sure.
And Daryl, if you can vacate one full room at a time rather than pieces of rooms, that'd probably help us. You know, I don't know if that works, but
Actually, why don't we wait until item 18, we get to talk about some of this stuff then.
now they're both kind of intermingled anyway
Right.
at this point.
Item 16, there's really no action involved there, is there, other than what's already planned?
All we lack is blinds as far as I know,
Okay.
as far as from the Rick, anything else?
There's still, owner still needs to do some stuff over there. And, signs over there.
The Braille signs.
Yeah.
The Braille signs. And I don't know if we've got them ordered yet, but the decals on the front doors says Commissioners on one and JP's on the other. There's a few things out there, but it doesn't keep us from moving.
Okay. So then the only action regarding the annex is what we just discussed here then?
I think so.
Yeah, okay. Item number 17, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the proposed weigh station. And I've been led to believe that there's really nothing to talk about at that, considering that right now, is that?
Not till the road gets actually built. But we're in-
Okay.
I mean, we're in the, not negotiation, but we're talking about the plan, basically. We're just waiting on text dot.
Okay.
To keep it on court so we don't brush it under the rug and let it slip past us.
All right, item 17 is no action. Item 18, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the Prosperity Building. Now, that's where we were just talking about ADA and those sorts of things there. And we pretty much discussed all we need to there, or?
Yeah, and I think some of the things that you're talking about now, once we make this move, and then we sit down and start thinking about the next moves over the next year, we'll delve into those items as we get there.
Get it?
Yeah, I mean, until what, March, 6 months out, October, November, somewhere before we can even really, I mean, we'd be thinking about what we might move between now.
Yeah, we definitely need to have some brainstorming sessions, and, you know.
Workshops or something?
In early second quarter of the year or something.
Okay.
And we really, in the next quarter or so, we need to have a roving court, and we need to take all the new guys, and we need to go to every piece of property that the county owns and let them walk through it and look. If the press wants to follow us, so be it, but we'll post it. That would be my suggestion.
That'd be good for all of us, not just the new guys, to go out and see.
I agree,
everything.
that's a
Yeah.
good
Load
idea.
up in a van and go to everything we own and look at it and.
Is that gonna be a special meeting? I mean,
Sorry?
that'll be a special meeting?
Yeah.
I'd be up to you guys. I don't,
I mean,
or leave
time
here
we
one
get through
time
here,
afternoon.
It'd be late in the afternoon to do all the walkthroughs, wouldn't it? I mean, it'd take
It'd
pretty
take a
good.
while, yeah, it's a bunch.
You may not do it today. I mean, you're several. I mean, depends on whether or not you want to.
Right.
And we need, you guys, everybody needs to go look.
Oh, I'd
We
like
got
to see
5
it.
EMS stations. You know, that's not counting what's downtown. The 4 barns, you guys may not even be interested, but some of us may or may not know where they're all located. That kind of stuff. But that would just be a suggestion. If we set a court, post it and say, hey, this is what's going to happen. We're going to start off at the courthouse and we're going to make the rounds.
I'd like to that day stop off at the precinct 3 bar and have steak, medium rare.
Yeah.
There you go.
We know he can cook.
We can do it.
We know he can cook.
3, huh?
Yeah.
You know,
All right.
he feeds.
All right. So item number 18 is no action at this time. Item number 19, deliberate and consider possible action regarding various grant funds. I think, Shelley, is that a Shelley question?
Yeah, I don't have any updates.
Okay.
I sent off 2 big additional document requests to FEMA. I've got another one, and then I need to submit the CTIF road.
Okay, we're down from about 4 or 5 of those, aren't we? Didn't we have 4 or 5 grants?
Yeah, these are the last 2.
Okay. All right, item number 19, no action. Item number 20.
Hey, just a second.
Oh, hang on just a second.
New TDM guy? Is that correct?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Lloyd, you want to introduce yourself to the court? Can we do that legally?
Sure.
Just an introduction?
Absolutely. My name's Greg Lloyd. I'm your new county liaison officer for Texas Division of Emergency Management. So I'll be working with Ray and you guys to facilitate any interface you have with the state regarding grants, emergencies, management.
Radios.
What about radios?
Radios. Hey, I'll just say, I retired fire chief from Denison and Coppell trained for a long time. Those conversations are very common everywhere you go. Coppell, we did four cities combined and did all the radios and everything, and it is a monumental task. So I applaud your conversation and keep it going. There is no easy way through that maze, but you know, it's one of those low federal unfunded mandate things, so kind of have to do it, but you guys keep the conversation.
Commissioner Hollowell's done a load of work on this whole thing here. Yeah.
Because most people aren't aware of the intricacies of radios, both transmissions and hardware and everything else. It's a big deal, so you guys keep at it, you'll get there. It's-
Well, I had heard of you. I'm glad to finally see you, meet you.
Yeah, I was
Glad you were here.
Wanted to get a little sooner, but the holidays, everything, it
Yeah.
was a little bit hectic. But got moved in, I'm over on Tulane, and, you know, in the process of going around, met Riley and Sheriff, and so I'm just kind of getting myself
How many
acclimated.
counties are you assisting, just the one?
Cook.
I'm yours, yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
talked
so,
about this
Yeah.
this district, we've
Well,
got
Nick
a,
Kidd was telling me about it at a meeting I was at
Yeah.
back in August.
Yeah.
yeah, our disaster district is 22, which is Fannin, Progressive, Cook. But I'm the only liaison in this disaster district, so Cooke County's the only one that has one. So.
If you had to nail down exactly what your duty is, what would that be?
You know, we had that same question from your predecessor. And so it's a new position. And it's originally put forward to support the district coordinator, so 22's district coordinator. There is a lot of mind spinning. A couple of weeks ago, we had a meeting down at College Station with Nim Kidd, and there is a lot of excitement about this position because they haven't fully fleshed out exactly everything that I'm going to do, or anybody in my position is going to do. I think that certainly any kind of liaison activity you have with the state, but beyond that, I feel like it's going to be a little bit specific to the county. I may do stuff here that my predecessor, my peer down in Denton County is not doing because it's Denton County, this is Cooke County. So what I want to do is take the approach that, you know, I've met with Shelley, I know Shelley, and whatever it is that is needed to facilitate any of your grant processing, any of emergency management, any of decisions, if you guys need resources beyond the county to help with decisions on radios or anything, I mean, just any kind of help or aid that you might need that the state might be able to offer, I'm your point of contact.
And if you got a card, you got cards?
You know, I don't. I tell you, they haven't given us any, which is another one of the reasons I kind of waited. But I do have if you've got a phone, you can scan that QR code. I'll just, and that's my contact. And I apologize.
That's better than a card anyway.
We're trying to.
Just take a picture of it, right? That's still scanning.
Take a picture and it'll go to a web.
You gotta give it back to me. You're holding out on me.
It happens.
I'm used to it. There we go.
And just be sure to create new contacts. So if you don't hit the scroll down and hit the create new
I
contact.
think I already have all this info, but I'll
It
take
did
it
good for me.
again.
I'll send it to you.
Okay. Craig, that's what, it's Craig or Greg?
Greg.
Greg, okay, that's what.
One L, kind of weird. But yeah, anything you guys might need, and that's kind of a bit of a lame answer to your question, but that, we just don't really know the full girth of what.
I got you.
But, so to that end, just anything you guys need, please don't hesitate. And I'll try to make the meetings as often as I can, and just kind of keep myself. I would love to tag along with you guys if you do the tour. I think that would help me a lot.
Excellent.
Again, I spent 16 years in Sherman, went to Coppell for about 6 years, came back to Denison for 6. So I'm familiar with, have family in Fannin County, so I'm familiar with the district and a little bit of Cooke County, but I haven't got my feet wet enough here. So anything.
Welcome. Glad to have you.
Thank you.
Oh, no, I can't.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Kathy wants us to be sure and sign this plats over here, so we got some signing to do. One thing I forgot, on the radio stuff, is if we could get the fire departments to go and seek the assisted firefighters grant for communications, so that if this, as it proceeds along, we might have some money out there, but it takes the firefighters to apply for it. And I would ask that, my goal would be to tell Ray, that, hey, guys, y'all need to help us. You need to ask for this. Don't just come to us and say, you know, without at least seeking some.
It's good.
I make the motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Arndt to adjourn, seconded by Commissioner Snuggs. We'll probably have to, a lot of discussion on that item.
If you get started,
Judge, will you pass the minutes back down?
take one
The
there.
minutes are mine.
Ours don't want
These adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
And what I did, let's do.